I'd like you to think about who you know or have known in your life who's had some kind of disability, whether it's learning, physical, or mental. Wouldn't you like to see them succeed and reach their potential? I'd like to introduce you to a very special and close family friend, CJ. CJ was born with Down syndrome, but from the time that he was in kindergarten to fifth grade, CJ had been part of his special education inclusion program. Unfortunately, CJ passed away right after his 11th birthday. But before he died, the school had reevaluated him, and they discovered that CJ's social skills were so off the charts that he almost didn't qualify for special ed services. CJ had succeeded and had reached a very high potential. Because his mother made sure he was always included, when CJ's funeral was held at our stake center, it was completely full with standing room only. That is the impact one little boy with Down syndrome had on a school, a church, and a community. I have the opportunity to work at a middle school as a paraprofessional with many special ed kids like CJ. And I believe that with a special education inclusion program, when children with disabilities are appropriately placed and given the opportunities to learn in a general classroom alongside their non-disabled peers, they will benefit both academically and socially. What is inclusion? Inclusion is the idea that children are educated regardless of a disability in a general education classes with the support and guidance of special education teachers, putting these children in their least restrictive environment, which is allowing students with disabilities to learn while being educated in a classroom that is as close to normal as possible. There are two federal laws that govern education of children with disabilities and require that a significant effort to be made to find an inclusive placement. These laws are stated in the IDEA, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. The IDEA states that there are important areas that need to be met, including methods to identify students with learning disabilities, early intervention services, highly qualified teachers, and meeting accessibility standards. The purpose of these requirements is to carry out the intent of the IDEA, which is to educate as many students with disabilities as possible in their regular education classrooms while still meeting their unique individual needs. There are several things that we can do to help special ed children in the inclusion process. First is to identify students with learning disabilities. Teachers are required to use a variety of data gathering tools and strategies to measure students' learning abilities, and then create an IEP, which is an individual education learning plan. And in these IEPs, they will set goals for these students to meet and accomplish each year. Second is to provide students who require academic support to succeed in each general classroom. Having highly qualified special ed teachers, paraprofessionals such as myself, access to appropriate instructional material, audio tapes of books, reading aloud tests, and other resources will help students in the inclusion process. Third, schools should provide a Best Buddies program, which is a club that will pair students with and without disabilities to help create friendships through offering social activities and to provide students with early educational development. Finally, schools should provide community ed sports programs, which offer team sports for students with disabilities to allow them the opportunity to compete and not be excluded from sporting events. As stated in the book, Special Education in Contemporary Society, placement in general education classes with a working partnership between special education teachers and general educators would result in a better education for all pupils, not just those with special needs, and would occur within the context of the least restrictive environment. If the students in special education classes were put in regular education classes with the rest of the children their age, they would feel a greater sense of normalcy. In special education, the principle of normalization is making students with disabilities feel like everyone else and make them believe that they can do anything they put their mind to. Special education professional Gretchen Walsh at Notre Dame College says, inclusion is important because through our diversity, we certainly add to our creativity. If you don't have a diverse classroom or a diverse world, you don't have the same creative levels, and I think our strength lies in our diversity. There are many benefits for students with and without disabilities to learn from each other in an inclusive classroom. At kidstogether.org, they state that the benefits of inclusion for students with disabilities are increased friendships, peer role models for academic, social, and behavior skills, increased achievement of IEP goals, access to general curriculum, and opportunities for more interaction. The benefits of inclusion for students without disabilities are meaningful friendships, increased appreciation and acceptance of individual differences, respect for all people, prepare students for adult life in an inclusive society, and greater academic outcomes. I have seen firsthand the compassion and increased acceptance that has come from inclusion programs. Teachers and students go out of their way to say hi, give hugs, and high fives when they see one of my students in the hallway, making them feel included and as if they have friends in their school. All children need to be accepted and to feel included. There are many things that we can do as family members, friends, or members of a community to get involved. First, you can look into your local school's current special ed programs, see what funding is available, see what resources are needed for an inclusion program. You can volunteer at your local schools and specifically in the special ed classrooms. Find out if your local schools offer a Best Buddies program. If so, join and help organize activities. If they don't, then start a club, charter, and get other members of the community to help. Find out if your community offers a community ed sports program, and if they do, help with coaching or organizing sporting events. Remember, you don't have to be a school employee to get involved. Now I'm going to ask you again to think about someone in your own life with a disability. And again, wouldn't you like them to succeed and reach their potential? Dr. Seuss said, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not.